We have found that when families move here to the Airdrie, Calgary area, the median budget for a home that they buy is about $600,000. So today we're going to find out how different does that home look buying it in Airdrie versus buying it in Calgary. What's similar and what's different? Which do you get the biggest bang for your buck? I'm a local realtor here. I've lived in the area my whole life. I grew up in Calgary and I moved to Airdrie decades ago. Since I moved here, Airdrie has grown 6 times in size of what it was when I first moved here. Massive growth. It's been one of the most popular cities in the country. While the dream of home ownership is dead in many cities in Canada, with house prices shooting through the roof, it's becoming impossible to buy a home for most people. Some of the cities topping $1 million, $2 million for what is like a stereotypical family home. At best, many families can only afford an apartment, or if they move way far out, maybe a townhouse. But to buy a single family home is just not possible for them. This dream is alive in Alberta, very alive. One of the highest instances of home ownership in the country. And while Albertans think that homes are expensive here, people coming from other parts of Canada think everything's on sale. So what's different between Airdrie and Calgary? So our dead simple criteria. So our median house price for somebody moving here is about $600,000. So we looked for the past 90 days at what is actually sold, not listed, but sold, what somebody actually paid money for. And we put a $50,000 spread. So $575,000 to $625,000. And then we're like, what's the same and what's different about these houses? So the number one thing we found is that homes in Airdrie are bigger. They really are. Now, of the homes we looked at, there's of course a range, but in the median average of the homes we looked at, the homes that sold in this last 90 days, homes in Airdrie are about 100 square feet or so bigger. Now, 100 square feet isn't everything. It's not nothing either. That's enough square footage for like an extra bedroom, maybe a bonus room. We found lots of families love those bonus rooms. So if you're not familiar, a bonus room is when you have a 2-story house, you go upstairs and there's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a bonus room that would be often over top of the garage, there is a big family room. A lot of times big windows, and it's more of a relaxed setting than the living room downstairs. Big overstuffed couch and big screen TV and toys and maybe a desk for doing homework. And so a lot of families just love those. It's kind of the center of family life. So 100 square feet is a long way towards having yourself a bonus room. So bottom line, if you're looking for the most home for your money, keep Airdrie on your list. But wait, there's more. The second thing we found was lot size. There are outliers, of course, different neighborhoods that have small lots and big lots. But in general, this was actually a bit of a big difference. So the median size for the homes in Airdrie or in Calgary that sold in the last 90 days was 3,371 square feet. But what do you think in Airdrie? 4,164 square feet. So that's 24% more land for the same money. Not bad. Now, I remember one house in Airdrie. I'll try to see if I can find a shot here a satellite photo to drop in here, but it was wild. It was in Williamstown in the northwest part of Airdrie, and this lot was so big. It didn't look that big. It was a pie-shaped lot, so it was really small in the front yard, and you go out the backyard. I mean, you could put in a soccer field, not full size, but like a small soccer field or a small skating rink in the wintertime, store your RV, and still have room for a fire pit and barbecues, and it was just this huge lot. Those are harder to find in Calgary. The land cost is quite a bit more in the big city, and so the lots tend to be a lot smaller. Okay, the number 3 thing we found is garages. So many of the homes we found in Calgary in this price range, did not have a front attached garage. They either had a rear garage off an alley, like a laneway, or they had no garage at all, just a parking pad in the back. In fact, this is quite common in a lot of the newer neighborhoods. They're just building a home with no garage at all, and they'll put a concrete pad in so you can put a garage on it later. And meanwhile, you can park on the concrete pad. So same budget, a little bit smaller house, smaller lot, and either rear garage or no garage at all. See in Airdrie, in this price range, it's more common to have a double attached front drive garage. Now, some people like the rear garages and we do have these available in Airdrie as well, and they'll sometimes try to buy a home with no garage, but room for one in the back. Somebody that's a gearhead that wants to work on their cars and put in a lift, and they want to build an oversized garage. You can't really expand a front attached garage, but a rear garage, you can kind of build to the maximum size you can fit on the lot. Now, with the new, with the larger lots in Airdrie, you're going to have a little bit more lot left after you build a garage to actually have room for the kids to play. If the lot is like 1,000 square feet smaller, like some of these Calgary lots, there's not going to be anything left. It's going to be barely room for the dog to pee. Hey, though, the front attached garage is super nice in the wintertime. On my home, we have a front attached garage, and I just leave my coat in the car. And so when I leave the house, the garage is already slightly warm, so the car's not cold. My coat's in there. I just can walk right in, not walking through the snow. I'm not scraping windows or wiping down. Like, it's just so nice in the wintertime. By the way, my name is Glenn Heslop. I'm a longtime realtor here in the Airdrie, Calgary area. I make these videos for people like you that are looking to upgrade your hometown to Airdrie, Alberta. Oh yeah. It's an upgrade. I've been here for decades, and I've helped hundreds of people find their next perfect home. There's a link in the video description below to book a call with me, and make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos as they come out. Okay, back to the comparison of Airdrie versus Calgary. Okay, number 4 may be a bit of a surprise to you. 10% of the homes that we found that sold in this price range in Calgary in the last 90 days had a basement suite, a mortgage helper. So you can rent out a separate area, generate a little bit of an income, maybe $1,000 a month, maybe more in some cases, and that really helps cover some of your monthly expenses. About 10% in Calgary and about 3% in Airdrie. Now, the interesting thing is in Calgary, they're about 50-50 legal or illegal suites. And I can maybe get into that in another video, but suites were not possible here legally for up until just a few years ago. So this is a fairly new phenomenon. About half the suites in Calgary are illegal under the old rules, and about half of them are legal, so the city knows about them. In Airdrie, about 3% of the homes we found had suites, and in this price range, none of them were legal suites. Now, there are lots of homes in Airdrie with suites and with legal suites, but they tend to be in a little bit higher price range. Actually, there's one really cool one. It's a different price range, but where they build a triple car garage, detached in the rear of the property, and they build a 1-bedroom apartment on top of the garage, like a totally separate building. You can reach out to me, and I'll, if you're interested in seeing those, and I'll drop a link in the comments if somebody has that question, so you can see the pictures of what those look like. Those are really cool. Yeah, we've put together a real estate search tool that you can use for free. freehomesearchcalgary.com, and I'll drop a link here. We find many people use realtor.ca, and it's old data, so we sync ours to the MLS every 5 minutes, and so you can browse properties in Alberta, and you know that it's up to date and accurate. Yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me in the last few months, since maybe October, I've had a lot of people ask me about homes with suites, a bit of a mortgage helper. So they can get another $800, $1,000, $1,200 a month for an additional suite. It really helps them. So sometimes if we bump the price range a little bit, that the suite will cover the difference in mortgage payment of buying a little bit more expensive house, but then you get a tenant to be helping to pay your mortgage, which is super helpful. Okay, number 5 you may not have seen coming, but one of the differences is location. So in Airdrie, the homes in this price range are kind of spread across the city. We recently just did a video where can I find a $600,000 home in Airdrie, so we'll look for that on the channel, and we go through the top 3 neighborhoods where you're more likely to find that home, a 2-story double front attached garage, $600,000 home in Airdrie, and then a few honorable mentions. So they're all across the city. Now, looking in Calgary, these are grouped in 2 distinct areas. The very far north of Calgary, a like strip north of the Stony Trail, north of the Ring Road. These are areas of brand new construction, and a similar area band in the very south end of the city. Now that brings up the commute. Now this can really depend on where your job is. If your job is in the southeast industrial, home in the far south of Calgary might work well for you. That might be great. Similar in Calgary, if you're in some of the commercial areas in the northwest, if your job's out there, then living in the far north end of Calgary and commuting there might actually work quite well. But I just went over this with my daughter today, actually. They were looking at, my daughter's getting married. Yes, congratulations, Jackie. So they're looking at a home in the north part of Calgary versus Airdrie. And one thing I noticed is that the Airdrie home is actually, I think 4 or 5 minutes closer to her work in Calgary. She works in the northeast than in the home in the far north of Calgary is. So Airdrie is closer. So many of the people working even downtown, you'll find that your commute from the north part of the Calgary or from Airdrie, it may be very similar or actually shorter from Airdrie. Now, people that are living in the far, like these homes in Calgary in the far southeast, so the southeast, southwest, very far south to get this price range, you'll actually have a considerably shorter commute in most cases to downtown Calgary from Airdrie than you would from South Calgary. When I say shorter, I mean shorter in time, because in Airdrie, it's maybe a little bit further in distance, but freeway all the way, it's a pretty direct commute. Okay, so are you ready to get started with your move to Airdrie, Alberta, even Calgary? There's a link to book a call with me in the video description below. The link takes you to my calendar. Make sure you select a time that both you and your spouse are available so we don't end up having to rebook the call. And if you're not yet sure if Airdrie is for you, here's another couple videos for you to watch. I think they can convince you. Talk to you on the next one.